So Hare Krishna, viewers. I wanted to seek the blessing of Radha Madhava, Shamsam, Ishwara, Balgopal, Purnitashi, Prabhupada, Guru Maharaj, and devotees. So continuing with the series on Sanatan Dharma, and today we wanted to look at Ishwara, God. Does he actually exist? Big topic, of course, because this world believes they can abolish God. They don't need God anymore. They have scientists who are playing God, and there's no need for him anymore. So, from the world's leading scientists, this universe came into existence out of nothing. However, because nothing is inherently unstable, something has to come out from it. And what came from it was the universe that surrounds us. This is their sort of logic and thinking behind the world, and the world sort of how it's organized. Doesn't make any sense. Common arguments by atheists. I can't see God, so he does not exist. This is often we hear this, especially in the schools. Can't see God, therefore he does not exist. Well, we can't see air, so does that mean air doesn't exist? No, air exists because we're breathing. The symptoms of air are we are able to breathe. Similarly, we see the order in this world. The sun rises every morning, sets every evening, the planets revolve around. There's such fantastic order in this world. And that is a symptom of the existence of a somebody who's organized this system. And we believe that that is God, of course. We are a little bit like the frog in the well. The frog in the well went to see his friend. No, sorry. The frog in the ocean came to see his friend who lives in a well. So the frog in the well asked the frog in the ocean, how big is where you live? How big is it? How big is the ocean? Oh, it's huge. Is it 10 times bigger than this well? No, many, many millions of times bigger. Well, 100 times bigger than this well. The frog in the well could never understand the depth of the ocean because his vision was very much a tunnel vision. So similarly, the atheist, if you like, they have a very tunnel vision. They can't see beyond this world. Everything happens by chance. And this is one of the most ridiculous theories. The Big Bang theory. The Big Bang. And this is unfortunately taught in science in the schools. There was a Big Bang, and out of this incredible Big Bang, this order has come into place, and by some incredible chance, life came out of it. There's a famous French philosopher, Jacques Monod. He wrote in 1970 a book on chance. Everything existing in the universe is the fruit of chance and necessity. He even won a Nobel Peace Prize for this work. A totally blind process can by definition lead to anything. It can even lead to vision itself. How ridiculous is that? What they're saying is the Big Bang can lead to order. Now, it doesn't even make sense. If you have an explosion, we all know the effects of an explosion. Total chaos, let alone a huge explosion. Before we go into this, I wanted to talk about Sir Fred Hoyle. Now, he is quite an intelligent scientist, actually. He was the one who coined the phrase Big Bang. as a joke, actually. But he was vilified by the scientific community. But eventually, he convinced them that he was only joking. And then this term was coined, the Big Bang theory. It's due to him. So what does he have to say? We must now admit to ourselves that the probability of life arising by chance, by evolution, is the same probability of throwing 6 in dice 5 million consecutive times. This is what the scientists say. He also said, let's be scientifically honest with ourselves. The probability of having life arise to greater and greater complexity and the organization by chance is the same probability of having a tornado tearing through a junkyard and form out the other end a Boeing 707. So he didn't give much credence to this Big Bang theory. Let's talk about Darwin. How the bear evolved into monstrous whale. In North America, so this is from his Origin of Species. In North America, the black bear was seen swimming for hours with wide open mouth, thus catching like a whale insects in water. Even in so extreme a case as this, if the supply of insects was constant and if better adapted competitors did not already exist in the country, I can see no difficulty in a race of bears by natural selection more and more aquatic in their structure and habits with larger and larger mouths until a creature was produced as monstrous as a whale. How ridiculous is that? But then he does say in one of his letters to one of his students in 1857, he wrote, to suppose that the eye could have been formed by evolution seems, I freely confess, absurd in the highest degree. The eye is such an incredible organ, such a complex. Can it have just come about by chance? Just that one little eye. So, another argument, no need for God as all phenomena are explained. Scientists, they can explain tsunami, earthquakes. So what need is there for God? But actually they can't understand the basic knowledge of how, for example, the earth is created in the first place in order for the earthquakes to take place. They can't explain that. They can't understand that. If he exists, if God exists, why is there suffering in the world? That's a good question. That's a good question. Why is there suffering if there's God? If God is our well-wisher, he cares for us, and how come somebody is born, without legs or hands, or somebody is born very rich in a royal family? So one time a man went to a barber shop, and the barber was giving him this same argument that, if there is a God, there would be no suffering. There is no God because there's so much suffering in this world. Anyway, the man didn't argue with the barber. But later on, after he had his haircut, he went away. And he came running back and said, there's no barbers in this world. There's no barbers. Well, the barber said, I'm here. You just cut your hair. No, there can't be any barbers. Why do you say that? Because there's so many people with long hair and beards out there. There can't be any barbers. No, the barber said, if they come into my shop, I will cut their hair for them. I will shave their beards for them. Exactly, the man said. Exactly. That's your point. That's my point, he said. If you're saying there is no God because it's of suffering, well, people are suffering because they're not approaching God. Just like They have long hair because they're not approaching you to cut the hair. So if somebody is suffering, if they approach God, there will be relief for that person. So that's interesting how we put all of the blame on God. But there's a very good example of somebody who, a tennis superstar, who was the first black man to win Wimbledon, a legend actually, Arthur Ashe. He, the legendary Wimbledon player, was dying of cancer. From all over the world, he received letters from his fans, one of which conveyed, "Why has God selected you for such a disease?" Now, look at the intelligence of this man. Arthur Ashe replied, "All over the world, 50 million children start playing tennis. 5 million learn how to play tennis properly. Right? 500,000 learn professional tennis. 50,000 come to the circuit." So this circuit is the professional circuit around the world. 5,000 reach the Grand Slam. 50 reach Wimbledon. 4 reach the semi-finals. 2 come to the finals. I won the final one time. When I was holding a cup, I never asked God, why me? And today in pain, I should not be asking God, why me? This is a really good point. It's a really good point. God was introduced to make people moral. So this is another argument by the atheists, that God was invented to make sure people don't just act whimsically. Even if one believes in God, it's important to analyze, why is there God? Is there a God? It's very important to analyze. Even if you believe in God, we shouldn't believe just out of, what's the word? For the sake of believing. We should actually believe with a purpose. Really understand, really question our own beliefs, so that we are situated properly. Otherwise, somebody else will come with another argument and will be able to convince us. But instead, we should be convinced ourselves by strong arguments. Faith, if we do that, faith will become stronger. Better understanding, not so sentimental. That's what I was doing. If we just have a sentimental idea, yes, God exists, that's not good enough, because somebody may come and displace our sentiments with the argument that God doesn't exist. We can also then convince others. We can persuade others if we want to. Don't have to if you don't want to. What are the counter arguments? Creation means creator. So the Mona Lisa, did somebody just throw a bunch of paint at a canvas and this wonderful picture, painting came about? No, there was an artist, Leonardo da Vinci. There's another beautiful painting. Is this, how absurd if somebody says to us that, somebody just came and splashed some colors against the wall and this magnificent landscape has come about. We know that's ridiculous. Somebody's actually painted it. So how ridiculous is it to say that there is no God? Creation was just a big bang, and the big bang led to this fantastic order. So who is the artist? Who is the artist? Look at this. Isn't this idyllic? Wow, a beautiful road. Has it just come about by accident? Do you know of any building that didn't have a builder? Do you know of any painting that didn't have a painter? Do you know of any car that didn't have a maker? So creation means creator. Can laws exist without a lawmaker? Newton this most beautiful system of the sun, planets, and comets could only proceed from the counsel domination of an intelligent and powerful being. So Isaac Newton. It's been reputed that one time Isaac Newton invited his scientist friends, to come to his home. And he made a replica of the solar system. And they were all congratulating him, how wonderful this replica is. And they asked him, how did you do this? How did it take you a long time, etc., etc. He said, no, I just threw up some things in the air and this wonderful structure came in. And they said, no, you're joking. Well, he said, no, actually, you're the guys who are joking because you think that out of the explosion, this glorious solar system of ours has come into being without a hand behind it. Any machine has a maker. So do we think that a machine like this, for example, has just been thrown together and all the screws have been placed in the right place, just like that? Just ridiculous. Design in order at the atomic, molecule, and cosmic level. At every level, there's design in order. The more we examine the universe, we find it not arbitrary at all, but obeys certain well-defined laws that operate in different areas. It seems very reasonable to suppose that there may be some unifying principle. This is Stephen Hawking, famous scientist, passed away. Wonderful nature, an amazing creation. We have such a phenomenal creation. We see order and systematic arrangement in the universe. But with beads, for example, when we have a set of beads, we may not be able to see the thread. So Krishna explains this in the Bhagavad Gita 7:7. O conqueror of wealth, there is no truth superior to me. Everything rests upon me as pearls are strung on a thread. You see the pearls here, you can't see the thread. So we assume that there is no thread. But there is a thread to hold it all together. Important to understand. Tendency to worship. We have a tendency to worship. Yes, our tendency to worship ourselves is only ever defeated by a willing, active, and consistent worship of God. If we don't have this desire to find the supreme, find the cause of all causes, and all we're going to think is we are the cause of all causes, and we're not. We're the cause of chaos. So let's work out who is God. What is God? What's the definition of God? What makes one God? Some say just some light is God. Light emanating from his effulgence is God. God is some force. God is everything. You and I are also God. So what exactly is God? And what is the definition of God? Here's some of the definitions of God. He's the source of everything. This is from the Bhagavad Gita 7:6, 10:8. God is also complete and perfect. He is the supreme controller. He's the supreme proprietor and enjoyer. He knows everything, he's omniscient. These are the definitions of God. Another definition in Vishnu Purana. 6 opulences he has in full. Wealth, strength, fame, beauty, knowledge, renunciation. These are the 6 opulences of the Supreme Personality of God. He has these in full. We may have a little bit of this, 1%, 2%, whatever. He has it all in 100%. Let's evaluate who is God. Many claim to be God. And especially in India, there's an incarnation of God in every village. Do they meet the above categories? These categories here. So who is God? Okay. Krishna declares himself God in the Bhagavad Gita. Aham papavo. No, what does he say? 10:8. Yeah, aham papavo. In the Gita, there's many references of Krishna's position. Aham sarvasvapabhava. Arjuna also makes some same declaration in chapter 10, text 12. The sages led by Narad also confirmed Krishna's position. So is there one God? Is there many gods? One God with a capital G. But there are many gods with a small g. When we say many gods, we are talking about those who he has empowered. There's one supreme Lord, but there are many devatas or demigods. Demigods, in very powerful personality who help the Lord administer the universe. Just like there is a king who has many ministers. So in the UK, we have a prime minister with the treasury, defense, home, secretary, foreign affairs, working pensions, health, etc. So God also has his cabinet to run the universe. Brahma is in charge of creation. Shiva in charge of destruction. Sun god, Vivasva, in charge of electricity. Soma, the moon god, in charge of agriculture. Indra in charge of rain. Kuver in charge of finance. Yamraj in charge of justice. Vayu in charge of air. Varun in charge of... There's actually 330 million demigods running just our tiny little universe. The other universe is far greater, far bigger. But they get their powers from God. They are not God. They are extraordinarily powerful. But the power comes from the Supreme Lord. So what about this Trimurti? Very famous. There's Vishnu. There's Shiva. There's Brahma. So what's their position? Well, Brahma is in charge of creation. He's just like you and me, but a very powerful soul, very pure soul. And hence why he's given the power to create by the Lord. Who's Shiva? Actually, Shiva is none different from Vishnu, except when Vishnu wants to touch this world, he transforms himself into Shiva. So actually, Shiva and Vishnu are very similar. Just like the difference between curd and milk. In his abode in Vaikuntha, Vishnu is aloof. But when in touch with the material world, he becomes Shiva. So it's just like if you have milk and you add a curding agent like lemon to that milk, it becomes curd. Similarly, the spiritual world, if you add this material world, then we have the personality of Shiva. So milk and curd are the same thing. They're milk products, but they're also different at the same time. The Shiva and Vishnu are one, but they're also different at the same time. Shiva is very hard to understand. Very, very hard to understand. So let's see what Brahma has to say about who is supreme. Ishwara Paramakrishna, Satchidananda, Nadira, Sarvakarakam. Krishna is known as Govinda, is a supreme Godhead. He has an eternal blissful body. He is the origin of all. He has no other origin. He's the prime cause of all causes. So this is a really important verse in the Brahma Samhita by Lord Brahma, the first created living entity, who was extremely intelligent. He's declaring Krishna as supreme, one without a second. Does God have a form, or is he impersonal? Right? What about the expansions and the avatars? So the answer to yes, he has a form. He's also impersonal. From his form comes an effulgence, which is formless. Just like from the sun comes the sunshine. The sun has form. It's a round ball. But the sunshine has no form. So in the same way, the Supreme Lord has a form. And from that form comes this effulgence called the Brahma Jyoti. So that aspect of God is impersonal. But the impersonal comes from the person, the personal. Without the personal, without the sun, there's no sunshine. Without the Supreme Lord, there's no effulgence. So we have to understand, and this is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 14, text number 27. He says, Brahmano hi pratistaham. I am the source of the impersonal Brahman. What about the expansions in the avatars? So, let's just go to one first. Not to worry. Just 1 second. Oops. Just open that up again. I wanted to share with you something. Let me just open up another file. What is the position of Krishna in relation to the different avatars? This is what I wanted to share. And the information, we haven't just made this up because we are fans of Krishna. This comes from 3 sources. Let's open up this file. Okay, I hope you can see this. This is like the family tree of Krishna and the avatars. Krishna is regarded to be the cause of all causes. The source of this is from 3 areas. One is the Bhagavad Gita, second is the Srimad Bhagavad Puran, and the third is the Brahma Samhita. These are the 3 principal scriptures. There are other scriptures as well, but these are the 3 that we... Oh my goodness, that's the time. Thank you. So, from Krishna comes the first expansion, Balaram. From Balaram comes a quadruple expansion, Vasudeva, Sanatan, Paduna, and Niruddha. From Sankarsam comes Narayan, and then we have the second quadruple expansion of Vasudeva, Sankarsam, Paduna. And then from this Sankarsam comes Mahavishnu, the first of the 3 Vishnus. Mahavishnu, Garbhadakshay Vishnu, and Kshirodakshay Vishnu. This Mahavishnu is the huge deity. When he breathes out, millions of universes come out of the pores of his skin. Into every single universe, Garbhadakshay Vishnu expands. And into every single person expands the Paramatma, Kshirodakshay Vishnu. So, the Paramatma is situated in our body with us. There's 2 souls. We are there, and Paramatma is there, thumb size, with us all the time. So this is according to the scriptures, the devotees, and the spiritual masters. So I wanted to stop there. We can continue. We won't continue until Monday now. Saturday, Sunday is a little tricky. There's quite a lot going on. But we'll continue on Monday. Are there any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Bhavan.
It's good. It's just that the very first one, when you said the frog was talking to the other frog, that is the ocean bigger than well. And it is. And in the well is lots of, in the ocean, it's lots of things there.
Mm.
But why did he ask that?
Oh, no. That was just an example. It's like our example, we
do ask questions.
yes, and we have very tunnel vision. We ask questions based on our experience, and our experiences are very limited. Whereas
Is it to do with the God?
yes, spiritual matters are very vast and very wide. Just because it doesn't sort of match with our thinking, we may reject something.
Okay.
The full picture, like the frog in the ocean, he understood the vastness of the ocean, but the frog in the well cannot, because his experience is very limited.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
And the one person that did you say? You said something about the people, that why people are born, why we say people are born, and I mean they're all not perfect. They've always got some sort of a disability. Then that means that if the God is giving them it's not God is giving them the birth, but is it our karma that we bring? Our children are born with some sort of a disability. Then we can't say God gave us children like this.
Yeah, correct. Because if
some are born even blind from the birth.
Yeah, correct. If God is God, that means he must be perfect. He won't discriminate. He won't make one person able and the other disabled, because God is God. So if we have that understanding, then we also need to understand, in that case, why is somebody born with a disability and others are born with a silver spoon in their mouth? And the reason for that, for what we understand from the Bhagavad Gita, is it's karma, as you said, karma. Something we have done in the past to deserve good things or punishment, and that manifests in this life. Otherwise, God is not is prejudiced. God is a racist, if you like. God is sexist. God is transformed. Okay, let's not go down that route.
No, that's fine. But is this like when you said section 4, Ishwara, Sanatan, Dharma? Is this a new chapter? Not, or is it? Are you?
This is we're talking because we're talking just about Ishwara, who is God. So this
and is it new from yesterday?
Yes, because yesterday we talked about the scriptures. Now we just talk about Ishwara.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. And yesterday when we were talking about Puranas.
That's right. So tomorrow, on Monday, we'll continue with Ishwara, just so that we are very clear about who is God and why, how you can distinguish the real avatars. Because there's so many false avatars in this world claiming to be God. So we shouldn't be foolish and get misled. We should not get misled.
And the way you are telling, you are right. When we talk to the children, they do say, "Where is God? Why can't we see them? Or where is it? Don't believe in God." Things like that.
Yeah, correct.
So it's difficult to make them understand too.
It can be, but I think the example, can you see air? You can't see air, but it's there, isn't it?
It's there, yeah.
So if the theory that I can't see it, so it doesn't exist, doesn't make sense. Because you can't see air, but it exists. Yeah. How do we know God exists? How did this universe come about? How is it fantastic order? Are you thinking it's from the Big Bang? Who's more stupid? You're thinking an explosion has led to this fantastic order? Are you stupid? You must be stupid because you're thinking that an explosion leads to fantastic order. That's ridiculous. So this is my argument. This is, whenever I get talking to an atheist and they come up with that, I enjoy having a little go at them because you cannot be more stupid than this,
No.
thinking that there's an explosion and there's fantastic order. That is ridiculous. So I just continue on that until they get fed up and walk away from
Fed up, walk away. All right. Thank you.
Thank you so
very
much. Thank you. Okay, if there's nothing else, we can stop and then continue on Monday. Ishwara ki jai, Shri Krishna Bhagavan ki jai.